How's it going, peeps? Welcome back to Viva La Coin. I am Viva, and if you thought that I was missing the bottom half of my face, I just shaved. We were actually traveling for a wedding and visiting a lot of Web3 friends and family out in California, so don't be alarmed by that. But I'm glad to be back, and I did get this awesome skull hat in San Diego, and I also got COVID. So I was sick with COVID over the past week upon return, but I'm excited to start putting out content, making videos, and covering what Nemonium is up to currently. Today, I wanted to cover a little bit about Josh Jones, who is actually the artist behind our upcoming 13,000 piece collection with Rarity that you've seen a lot of sneak peeks from, whether on the Discord or Twitter. I've reached out to Josh and I wanted to learn a little bit more about his background, how he got into Cardano and cross paths with Nemo and Nemonium in general, and what some of his inspiration was whenever he was creating those different pieces. So that's what I'll be covering today. Ultimately, if you have any questions for myself or him, I'm happy to answer them if you reach out to me directly on Twitter, or if you're in the Discord, I'll be posting this video up there as well. Okay, so in looking at Josh's Twitter page, he's relatively newer to the Cardano NFT space, at least in my eyes, which is interesting because I've been here for a while and I tend to feel like I know a lot of the different artists and individuals. And anytime someone comes in that is unfamiliar to me that Nemo was speaking with and has created anything for Nemonium, it blows me away how he comes across these incredible artists one way or the other, or even if they find him. So I wanted to learn more about his background and how he got into this space. And I'm also going to show some sneak peeks that we had up in the Discord just so everyone can get excited about. But first and foremost, it was more or less, how did Josh wind up in cnft? So initially, he found his way to ADA or Cardano back in mid-2020. And at the time, he was working actually on photography, not so much digital art in that sense. And I actually pulled up a couple different examples of some of the work that he's posted still on Twitter to share as well. Now, for Josh's photography, that was the main focus that he had during that period of time. However, he was interested in Cardano and spent a lot of time researching it. Just it wasn't really in the NFT space because it didn't exist yet for us. But he did say that he found out about the cnft space around February of 2021. Now, he was working on his own particular project, which I wrote down. It was Deep World NFT around June of last year. And he was actually sneak peeking some of his own personal work in February of 2022. Now, Nemo, being able to monitor somehow everything all at once, he came across his work as well. And Josh saw Nemo on Twitter just because he tends to be very, out there constantly talking with the community, not very difficult to access and more personable than what you see sometimes from very large accounts. So they started talking back and forth after Nemo saw his sneak peeks of Deep World. And he asked, well, Josh, do you do skulls? And Josh's response probably made Nemo smile, but he was like, well, I'll give it my absolute best shot. And sometimes, especially when we're changing the medium in which we create things, if it is the subject matter in which we're passionate about, it could be a challenge, but I think it also brings out new creativity and new possibilities within people. And you've seen a lot of these sneak peeks. I've been sharing them a lot when it comes to Twitter. But they're also on our Discord under announcements. But the detail on these skulls for being 13,000 pieces with Rarity and different breakdowns has consistently impressed me. Regardless of what breakdown or orientation they've had, they're all incredibly unique. The detail is incredibly impressive. Like I've spent enough time zooming in on them myself, and I'm in Nemonium. I've been here since the start of it, but I will be FOMOing individually into this, trying to get as many individual different skulls as possible because the designs are just unbelievable to me. And I asked Josh, I was like, so for inspiration on how you created these different pieces or how you wanted them to come across, what was your main focus on this main drop? And his explanation was more or less, one, Nemo gave me the creative freedom to do essentially whatever I wanted, as long as it was skull based. And a lot of the artists that have worked with us thus far or will be in the future, I think having that freedom to have your vision or your style and translate that to Nemonium is something that is incredibly important, especially as we want to support new and upcoming artists, artists from different blockchains, artists that maybe don't have their name out in cnft. If Nemo or anyone that is in Nemonium on the team created some type of template that they had to follow, it just wouldn't be a natural experience for the artist to really bring out their best work. But this is so cool. This is one of my favorite ones. It was a crystal skull, and that isn't a reference to the Indiana Jones movie. But just the detail is absolutely phenomenal, and that will be our drop coming up in June. The details for that specific dates and time are not out yet. However, I will be sharing those everywhere as they become available to me and the rest of the community. And I want to make sure okay, so I just had another tab of that one up. But if you are familiar with the Nemonium Discord and you haven't jumped in a minute, a lot of these different sneak peeks and information about the upcoming drop will be in the announcements, and everyone will be talking about it within the Discord as well. And here's another amazing piece. I wanted to have this up just to show. It's really, really cool. Even the detail in the reflectiveness of the gold, in the lasers and the halo, it's so different. The different feels you get and the texture on the tubing, it really blew me away, and I'm never not astonished by the talent that the Nemonium community, each individual artist, or just the team in general, bring to the table each and every time. But I did just want to take a separate video to highlight Josh's work, talk a little bit about their background, and to try and shed some light on what is to come, because I personally am super excited for it. And we're now to the point where we're at just shy of 3,500 members on the Nemonium Discord. And that's a number I'm incredibly excited and proud about, because none of it was ever about hype. A lot of people, even in the beginning, weren't necessarily sure what Nemonium was, or as we built it, what the vision would be. And as it comes together and more people are involved, that foundation and bedrock of the community that has existed for months and built together it is really coming to light, and it's more cohesive than I could have ever imagined. So aside from that, Josh, when you do watch this, I love your work. Thank you for answering the questions when I've reached out to you. I'm so excited for the mint to come up. I'm looking forward to it. And as for everyone else, if you have questions, feel free to reach out. That is the end of this episode. Thanks for being here on Viva La Coin, and I will catch you guys next time.